Surah Al-Naba that we just heard. Surah Al-Naba is the oh, this is going to work. Surah Al-Naba is the first surah of Juz Amma. And there's a few very interesting things that Allah says in the surah. But first, a brief translation. What are they asking about? The great news of resurrection? Really? They wonder about it? Think about it. Didn't we create the earth for you to live? We made the night and day to alternate. We made the night so you can sleep and rest. We made the day so that you can find your sustenance. We made the sky above you. We made the light of the sun. All this for nothing? No. No way. How does that make sense? There's got to be some reason for all of this. And one of the things is that there is a day of judgment. It's already been appointed. Everything is by design, so there's already been an appointed time for that day of judgment. Miqata. You know the miqat of Hajj? On that paper there? Miqat. Miqata. The day of judgment has a miqat, meaning it's already been appointed. There's a particular time for it. And on that day, the wrongdoers who spent their entire life rebelling against the divine order of everything, Allah gave us half a page of how He put order in everything He created. People who spend their entire life, taghin. Taghin means like that is part of them. Part of them is to do what? To spend time creating disorder, rebelling against the order of Allah. They're going to have to stay in the hellfire. And it's going to be ahqaba. Literally, huqub means 80 years. Ahqab is the plural of huqub. So 80 years upon 80 years upon 80 years is going to feel like it's forever for them. And there's a particular reason about this word ahqaba that I'm going to talk about in a second, inshallah. And then Allah says that it will be a jaza'an wifaqa, which could translate as an agreeable reward. Wifaq means that the people who are suffering the punishment of hell don't feel like this is more than they deserve. It is agreeable that this is what they deserve. So in the entire Quran, when you see people of the hellfire making a plea to Allah, you never see them saying, Ya Allah, I didn't do that much bad. I don't deserve to be punished this much. They will plead, Ya Allah, the ones who got us here, make them even suffer more than we do. They will say, Ya Allah, let us get out of here. Ya Allah, let us go back to the dunya. We understood now, we're going to fix ourselves. But you never hear them say, why am I getting this? This is not fair. None of them. Subhanallah. Now you turn to the next page, and on that day of judgment that is miqat, it's appointed, people will go to Jannah also. Muttaqeen, those who were aware of Allah, conscious of Allah, had loving fear of Allah, they will go to Jannah. And for them, it's not an agreeable reward. It's, whoa! Jaza'an min rabbika ata'an hisaban. Ata'an is an emphatic way to say it's a huge gift, way beyond what anybody could imagine. So compare that with that. Compare the way people react with the punishment of hell with the way people react with the reward of Jannah. Now, you probably all know the hadith. If somebody has the intention to do an evil deed and they don't do it, what happens? Allah counts it as a hasan. If they intend to do an evil deed and they do it, Allah counts it as one sayyah. If somebody intends to do a good deed and they don't do it, hasana. If somebody intends to do a good deed and does it, Allah multiplies as much as He wants. Laylatul Qadr khayrun min alf shahr. Better than. You know, better than means we don't know how much better. Subhanallah. So, hisaban. Ata'an min rabbika ata'an hisaba. It's a huge gift, but it does follow some calculation. There's some calculation to it. It is multiplied 700 times. And if you pray in the Kaaba or at the Kaaba, it multiplies, what is it, 10,000? 100,000. And then Medina, 10,000. And then Quds, 1,000, right? So we have these calculations that we know of for the multiplication of the hasanat. And then the sacred months multiplied. And then right before Fajr multiplied. And all these different things, right? So there is some form of calculation for the rewards and the sayyi'at. But for the sayyi'at, it's 1-to-1. There's no multiplication. SubhanAllah. So ahqaba, many scholars have looked at the way Allah describes the feeling of time in hellfire versus the way Allah describes the feeling of time in Jannah. And they've compared the two. And if you read through the Quran, you will see that Allah does not describe forever the same way in Jannah than He describes forever in the hellfire. And so Ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah, Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, he said, the people of the hellfire, it'll feel to them that it is forever. Just like many people in this world, they feel like the universe is forever. Even if you count the number of years until the end of the universe, that's like way forever. And in English, we use the word forever in many contexts. We don't actually mean infinity, like the mathematical infinity when we say forever. We just mean a very, very long time. Ibn Taymiyyah says that for the people of hell, it will feel like it is forever, but hell will eventually come to an end. Because hell has a purpose. Suffering has a purpose. What does Allah get out of punishing you? مَا يَفْعَلُ اللَّهُ بِعَذَابِكُمْ. What does Allah get out of punishing you? The purpose of punishment is that nobody can enter Jannah without a perfectly pure heart. And so when suffering happens in this dunya and it makes a person turn to Allah with a clean, or it makes a person clean their heart, then they have achieved the purpose of the suffering that they went through. And if a person did not achieve that in the dunya, they will suffer in the grave. And if that's not enough, they will suffer on the day of judgment. And if that's not enough, they will suffer as they go into hell, and maybe they might be saved at that point. And if that's not enough, they're going to go to hell, and then they're going to be saved later on. And then for some people, they will be in hell and they will have no hope whatsoever. It will feel like it is forever for them. But just like the universe comes to an end, Ibn Taymiyyah says, the hellfire will also come to an end. And this is something that many other scholars have disagreed about, of course, because the language of the Quran it does say forever. So that's an opinion that he has. But I think this is something that is worth telling, especially the youth, and especially Muslims in the American context, that the eternity of hell is not something that is 100% agreed upon by the scholars of Islam. And if you read the Quran, they have reason to think, and the others also have reason to say one opinion versus the other. Subhanallah, subhanak Allahumma bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Wallahu a'lam.